It is called a group discussion for a reason, right? So जब तुम MBA में जाते हो, when it comes to group discussions for MBA, cool. So as we were discussing, a few things should be very clear when it comes to group discussions. It is called a group discussion for a reason, right? So जब तुम MBA में जाते हो, when it comes to group discussions for MBA colleges or B schools, they are very observant about how you carry the entire group, okay? So it's not only about how you present your own points, it is about how you consider point and perspectives of all the group members and then arrive at a single decision or not, ठीक है? So first thing हो गया तुम्हारा point of view present करना, how you will present your point of view. Second thing will be how well you are aligned with the group. Do you take into consideration the दूसरों के points भी? Do you weigh the pros and cons? फिर अगर कोई भी topic है, okay, it is very important for all of us to weigh the pros and cons and then come up with a conclusion. पहले ही we will not jump into conclusions कि ये point का I believe this, I am a strong believer of this. ऐसा extreme में हम कभी नहीं बोलेंगे कि I do not think this will happen or I will think this will definitely happen. ऐसे कभी नहीं बोलेंगे. We will start by stating the facts. We will state the facts and figures. We will draw the reasoning behind those facts and figures, why we are telling something, what is the basis of it, what is the reference of it, and then we will drive to the conclusion that based on so and so facts and figures, these are the pros, these are the cons. As my team members also mentioned, this is the conclusion and this is what I believe in. Okay, the basic sanity rules है when it comes to group discussions, especially for B schools. ठीक है? How many of you feel that starting a group discussion gives you those brownie points, or it is very important to start the group discussion? तभी ही तुम वो interviewer या जो भी आपका moderator है उसके good books में आओगे या फिर you will get some extra points. How many of you think so? Anybody who feels so? No? Yes? Maybe? I don't know. Starting is not important, but okay. Only in the case when you have a very strong point, okay, not necessarily okay. See, starting a group discussion or initiating a group discussion can get you good points, but you have to decide in what ways, okay? For example, there's a topic and you know that topic pretty well, okay? So you start the topic by putting some facts and figures and giving some background about the topic, जो तुम्हें पता है. Maybe before some years, this was something like this, like topic आया suppose GST. ठीक है, तो जीएसटी पे तुमने स्टार्ट किया कि बिफोर जीएसटी व्हाई जीएसटी वाज ब्रॉट इनटू पिक्चर कंसीडरेशन. सो जीएसटी वाज टेकन इनटू कंसीडरेशन बिकॉज़ उसके पहले का टैक्स रिजीम कैसा था. We had these direct taxes, these indirect taxes, what was the background, what was the scenario, and then why GST was proposed. So you give a brief introduction and then you open the ground for others to put their opinion whether GST is good or bad or what are the conclusions, what they want to bet. Okay? This is the scene when you know the background. In that case, you can initiate and go forward and set up a ground. Okay? But if you don't know about the topic, okay, if you have points, chalo, GST topic hai, you have 1, 2, 3 points. GST is good because ye cheezein hui. GST is good because it helps so and so people. GST is good because so and so stakeholders were involved and turned out pretty well. Okay, but first mein hi, initial mein hi, starting mein hi, you will not go ahead and say that I believe that to start the conversation or to start today's discussion, I believe that GST was good because of so 1, 2, 3 reasons. No, don't do that. Okay, so if you have thoda sa background about the topic, go ahead and initiate. Okay. Second thing, if nobody in the group is initiating, if there is a pause of 1 or 2 seconds, okay, 2 to 3 seconds ka agar pause hai, and nobody is initiating, then take the initiative, because that pause becomes very awkward and it gives the impression to the moderator that the entire group is not interested, or either they don't know about the topic or they don't want to participate. Okay, so it gives a very negative information about the students or about the participants in the group. So it is very important to start in case there is some pause. Okay, awkward pause, we will keep avoiding that. Always starting is not important. If you don't know about the topic, then it is better not to start. Let 3 to 4 people in your group speak about the topic. You understand what is going on, what are they speaking. You take their points of view, thoda leke, and then you make up a point and then you put forward your point. Okay? Otherwise, if you don't know the topic, in case you don't know the topic, then listen to others' perspective. You can put up 1 or 2 points in between and then take the initiative to make the conclusion. Okay, to conclude the GD, because now you've understood some points of view, right? So now you can put up all the you can summarize all those things. You can put up your perspective and conclude the GD. It is very important to conclude the GD and arrive at a consensus. Agar consensus nahi bhi aata hai, for example, 3 people are saying GST was good, 2 people are saying GST was not good. So probably if you are somebody who is concluding, you can say that, okay, so over this discussion, we have come to know that GST was good because it has so and so 1, 2, 3 pros, but it could not be turned out to be a absolute success because of so and so cons. And so we are arriving at this conclusion that although GST was good for these people, but still it has so and so limitations. So this is the way you summarize. When you summarize, it is very important to take into consideration everybody's points. Okay, so only if you remember कि इसने क्या बोला था, कौन से पॉइंट्स डिस्कस हुए थे, गो फॉरवर्ड एंड कंक्लूड द चीज. ठीक है, ये हो गया अबाउट योर स्टार्टिंग, ये हो गया अबाउट योर कंक्लूजन. नाउ सेकंड थिंग इज, how many of you believe that it is very important to keep in mind and jump at the moment when you want to make a point? It becomes very difficult to find a space for yourself. ऐसा कितनों को लगता है? हाँ, you will have 13 to 14 people in a single GD. What can be the best way to barge in? So, see, when it comes to B schools के GDs, they are very conscious about how you are participating in the discussion. Okay, they are very particular about these things, the moderators. So what you can do is, there are a few things. There are, when somebody is speaking ना, जब आप naturally speak करते हो, just observe when you speak and when somebody speaks. ठीक है? So when I speak, I take those pauses in between. I take those छोटा pauses. ठीक है? So you have to find a pause in somebody else's point wherein it appears that he has come to something. For example, I am completing one sentence, and before starting the next sentence, I'm taking छोटा सा pause. Like, it's not very, what should I say? It's not very evident, but if you observe carefully, everybody has this छोटा सा pause. You end a sentence and then you make a new sentence. ठीक है? So you need to capture those छोटा pause and then fill in. Then put your point that, okay, as my friend is saying, continuing to as my friend is saying, I believe that so and so, so you can put in your point. ठीक है? But it is very important for you to be mindful of when you're interrupting that person. Do not interrupt that person when he is in between a point. ठीक है? Let him finish one sentence, wait for the opportunity, take the pause का benefit and jump in. And also, जब तुम ये observe करोगे कि दूसरों के pause कहाँ लग रहे हैं, start practicing from today itself. Start observing how people speak. You will understand that they do take छोटा pauses. Now, when you are speaking, be very mindful that you do not give those pauses as opportunities to others to pitch in. ठीक है? तुम्हारे पॉज से ऐसा नहीं लगना चाहिए कि ओके, यू आर गिविंग 1 or 2 सेकंड का पॉज, तो somebody else can take it away. ठीक है? So be very mindful of how you speak. But again, when it comes to pauses नहीं लेने का मतलब ये नहीं है कि you will just speak A B C D E F G H, ऐसे नहीं. There has to be a voice modulation. There has to be some punctuation in between in your sentences. Only then somebody from the moderator side will even listen to you, right? If you're just speaking plain, my name is this, I'm from this, doesn't make sense, right? So there has to be a voice modulation. There has to be punctuation in your sentences, and then you have to be mindful about how you speak. Okay? What is the question again? If multiple people try to take the opportunity of the pause of someone else, should we let them speak or should we continue? Because the voices can clash. Yes, very good question. So what you can do is, if you're starting and somebody else also starts at the same time, right? So you stop, you take a pause, you let that person finish, then you take another chance. Okay? Second time when you try, do not stop. Continue speaking, because that other person will, and then the moderator will also understand, okay, this person has tried to put in his point of view in the discussion, but some other person interrupted and he continued speaking. Okay, so you can continue speaking, but let that other person finish in the first time. Okay, even if this is very important if it is an online GD. Do you know how it is? Like, is it online, offline? How is it going to be conducted?
Online.
On Zoom, yeah.
Online ही होगा ना, तो it is very important, because online में there's one more disadvantage, guys. Online में there's one disadvantage which everybody has, is that the internet bandwidth. ठीक है? तो किसी का अगर slow चल रहा है, किसी का fast चल रहा है, तो वो बहुत ज़्यादा क्या बोलना, ये हो जाता है, overlap हो जाता है, interruption हो जाता है. If somebody has already started and you see that he has not yet started and you start speaking, so it becomes a very big mess. अगर किसी ने का slow है, fast है, so make sure that you have a good internet connection. You are not lagging behind, otherwise it will become very difficult for you to find those spots wherein you can pitch in a group discussion. But ये चीजें होती है, so be very careful about your internet connections also when it comes to online GD. ठीक है? तो first thing we discussed is content, how you will structure your content, कब start करना है, कैसे conclude करना है, कैसे pitch in करना है. Second thing very important is your body language. Even if it's an online GD, make sure your camera is at a position wherein your picture is visible till your arms. Okay, so for example, if I am placing my camera at this position, I hope everybody can see, I can place it itna at least, so that when I speak, my hands are visible. Okay, because your hand movements also convey a lot about your body language. If I put my camera ऐसे, सिर्फ मुंह दिख रहा है and I'm speaking, my hands are moving here and there, you cannot see what I'm doing, right? It becomes very weird for the moderator to understand whether you're confident enough with your points or not. So place your camera in a position wherein it is visible for the moderator. Part of your body language, your face should be clearly visible, your hand movement should be visible, and do not sit as a closed hand, say, या फिर ऐसे hands on your desk or something like that. Be comfortable, be calm, and then talk with your hand movements also. Okay. Very good lighting is also important. Make sure your desk has a good light. Okay, you can invest in a new light if it is not there, but it is important. Okay. Any other doubts as far as your GD is concerned? Any other concerns or any other questions do we have? Else we can start with a demo practice. I mean, GD practice.
Ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, since GD is going to be online, so do you think that it will be a fair practice? Like, will it really matter in the final selection, because there will be 13 to 14 people? And do you think that they? My opinion is that the only thing that is going to matter is your CT percentile and or your performance in interview. So, do you think this GD will really matter much? Because is it going to make a difference? Because there will be 13 to 14 people, and there will be only 2 mentors at max. So, do you think they can mark each and every one?
They can mark each and every.
Manish, there are 15 seats for 230 general people, so 1 marks will count. Yeah.
No, I agree with that. I agree with that. But like, fine, we are going to give our best.
Obviously,
it was just
for GD out of total 100. So I don't think it has that much value. But yeah, 1 mark does count.
Every mark will count when it comes to JB. So don't give any chance. Don't let loose any chance. Wherever you get marks, however you get marks, because you never know what will happen in the interviews, right? So do not take that chance. Do not lose even a single mark, half mark, kuch mat karo. There are more people in an engineering GD. ऐसा कुछ हाँ ठीक है होता है. Some colleges do have this, but it's not about the number of people. It's about how you present yourself. Opportunity cost हाँ यही कर लो. It's not about how many people actually. It's about how you present yourself. Because आगे जाके when you are a part of board meeting or some important management meeting, you'll be a part of a big board, right? Big management. So उसमें तुम ऐसे fish market बनाओगे तो फिर doesn't look good. Any other question, guys? Do we have any questions? Okay, cool. I don't see any more questions. Yes.
Do we need to introduce ourselves when we first pitch in?
No.
Or it's not? Yeah.
There's no need for you to introduce yourself in a group discussion. They will already have your name, or they will ask your names before you start the group discussion so that they can mark your performance in the GD. But when you are participating in a GD, do not waste time in talking about my name is this, I come from here, and this is my point. Do not. That is not required. Okay? And when you put forward your point, try speaking for at least 40 seconds to 1 minute. इससे ज्यादा मत करना because somebody or the else will interrupt. इतना ज्यादा होगा नहीं, but at least minimum 40 seconds तो भी करना. ठीक है 30 सेकंड में बंद मत हो जाना because the moderator cannot understand your point in 30 seconds. ऐसे लगेगा कि you made a guest appearance and you vanished. So don't make that wala thing. At least 40 seconds to 1 minute wala karna. And one more thing is very important when you're making a point. Do not feel that you made your point once. एक बार तुमने बात कर ली and then गायब. ऐसा नहीं. Even if you made a very impactful point, please make sure that you pitch in again. Once or twice, at least twice, 2 to 3 times in a GD because there are a lot of people. You say 13 to 14 people, so इतना ही chance मिलेगा. At least twice तो भी करना, अपना point रखना, try करना रखने की, ठीक है? एक बार बोल के बस खत्म, फिर पूरे time गायब, ऐसे मत हो जाना, okay? So once you put up a major point ना, one time अगर तुमने 1 minute के लिए एक अच्छा point रख दिया, then second time you can put maybe 30 seconds के लिए कुछ बोलो, oh yeah, this I consider this, I could add on to my point, this person has said this, something like that you can continue, okay? And always when you start speaking about your point, acknowledge the point made by the person who was speaking prior to you. ठीक है उसका कंटिन्यू करके so as my friend said even if you don't know his name ठीक है तुमको नाम नहीं पता है या फिर पता भी और तुमको याद नहीं है who is that person you cannot take this name you Mr. Ram said this you don't know who is it so as my colleague said or as my fellow mate said I would completely agree or I would like to add on to him etc because it is very important to you for you to consider the entire group ठीक है because it will show your team management skills basically if you are a team player or not ठीक है. How long will the GD continue? I think it will be 15 minutes or so.
But ma'am, if we consider 15 minutes and everybody speaks for like twice, and let's say 1 minute and the second time 40 seconds, so do we expect like 2 is enough or should we go more than 2? Like
2 is enough if everybody is speaking. If there are pauses and nobody picks up the advantage of pauses and there's an awkward pause, there happens a time when nobody is speaking. There's a pause for like 1-2 seconds. Start speaking. Do not let pauses. Okay? Because वो बहुत गंदा दिखता है GD. So yeah, and not everybody will speak so much. There are some people in every GD who wouldn't speak. Okay? You can use pen and paper to write short notes and look at them while speaking, but it is very important for you to interact as well because देखो जैसे मेरे पास भी I have a notebook and a pen right here. Okay, I'll note something. As I said, okay, this is this. Then you look here and you explain because you're talking to your group, right? You're not reading out things. So don't read it out. If you have pointers, well and good. You can note them down because they will give you time to think and then start, right? ऐसे नहीं बोलेंगे कि ये topic है, चलो start करो. You will be given some time to think. You can jot down your points, then make your pointers, and then you can start. But don't read your sentences from your notes. Make sure that you converse with your this thing, क्या बोलते हैं, group. Can we type notes in the computer while they are speaking? If you're comfortable and if you don't get lost, if you can type while you're listening. Okay, because sometimes it may happen that you're typing, and you lose track of who is speaking what, then it is bad. And if you're typing, and your eyes move only in your notes, and it's pretty evident, because if I open some document right now on my PC and I start reading, my eyes will like start moving SS, and becomes very evident for you to understand that I'm reading and not conversing with you, right? I'm not initiating any kind of conversation. So then that looks very bad. So don't do that. You can type notes only if you can multitask. Like if you're good at listening to what others are speaking also and typing also at the same time, plus processing also. So there's a difference between hearing something, listening something, processing it, and then storing it, and then speaking again, right? So agar itna wo fast process ho pa raha hai, then it's good. You
Won't
can.
that look a bit fishy though? Like if you're typing something on the computer, I mean,
It-
I could be googling, you know.
That is why I'm saying it shouldn't be evident that you're typing something. It shouldn't be evident, because if your eyes move, yeah, if your hands are visible, like because I said ki itna aise rakho so that your hands are visible and you can talk. So if I type aise, it becomes pretty evident, right? Ki you're typing something. I do not think they are going to allow it. See, it's not about allowing things. Everybody knows that हो जाता है. अगर Zoom पे तुम्हारा चाहिए तो हो जाता है. ठीक है? So it's better to keep a pen and paper. Yeah.
Also for that, will we get time to think on the topic, or it will be like a 10 minutes for thinking and writing?
No, for that you wouldn't get prep time to only think. It will be time given. Usi mein you have to partially think and then write. But for GT, you will be given some time, like 2 to 3 minutes to think before and then start. So last का 1 minute होगा तुम्हारे conclusion के लिए. First के 2 to 3 minutes will be for your thinking, and then maybe you can start. So the GT will be like for 20 minutes total. Last of 1 minute is for this thing, for conclusion. So there are two things. If you're in a GD, it becomes it will give you brownie points if you're mindful of time. So अगर 15 minutes का GD है and you're observing कि 14 minutes हो गए हैं and there's still no conclusion to the GD, people are just putting their points haywire. Then take the opportunity, go forward and say that as this was the topic of the discussion and we have arrived at so and so time, so let me conclude by taking into consideration all of your points, and this is the conclusion. So do not wait for the moderator to cut you and say, okay, chalo, time up, it's okay, let's wrap it up. Don't wait for the moderator to do that. You can go ahead and you can conclude the GD. So for that, then again, you have to be mindful of the time. And do not conclude if you don't remember what somebody said, because it would not look good if you forgot what some person said. Okay? So do not conclude if you don't remember what everybody said.
Ma'am, this 15 minutes thing that you said, the time limit. So, I mean, there could be two things that happen. One is like, if I decide to conclude and it's 14 minutes, the moderator would be like, yaar, 20 minute ka limit hai, tujhe kya pata, it's 15 minutes. Secondly, what if I'm concluding and then the other person is like, yaar, mujhe to aur bolna hai, can you just stop? Like, you know, it would be awkward, I feel. So,
No. See, you will be told, agar tumhe bata diya jata hai, you have to, the GD will be, the discussion will be for 15 minutes. Then you can go ahead, because everybody knows na कि 15 minute ही बोलना है, इससे ज़्यादा तो बोलना ही नहीं है.
okay.
तो कोई तुम्हें क्यों बोलेगा कि अरे why you're concluding, let me speak कर. Neither the moderator will say कि why you're concluding, it's my job, I want to listen to others also. Nobody will tell, because they also have to take बाकियों के GD. They are not free all day to listen to your conversations, right? So it won't look bad. If you know that the GD is only 15 minutes is the hard stop. अगर तुम्हें explicitly moderator ने पहले बताया है, only then. If you don't know how long it is, which is rare case, because moderators always tell how it is going to be, but still if you don't know, then don't go ahead.
And also, ma'am, for the VAT thingy, we have given 10 minutes, right, to write 300 words. I was just going through VAT, like YouTube page. So I saw that in IIMs they give 30 minutes for 300 words. So can we expect topics to be very direct and very easy in comparison to the topics that are given in IIMs? Because 10 minutes is like 1/3 of the time and expecting the same outcome, like 300 words. So is there something possibility for that, or do we need to read complex topics?
यार देखो, topic का easy या difficult होना is a very subjective thing. Okay? So if you are somebody who is well versed with finance topics, and if I give you a topic like what are your views on cryptocurrency, तो तुम फटाफट लिख दो उस पे. So it depends on you, what is your level of ease with what topic. ठीक है? If it is an abstract topic, फिर तो कोई मतलब ही नहीं, abstract topic बोल दिया, zero पे लिखो, जो लिखना है लिखो 10 मिनट में. It's a level playing field for everybody. हमारे पास अगर 10 मिनट में जो सूझ रहा है उतना लिखो, 30 मिनट में जो सूझ रहा है उतना लिखो. So it's level playing field. So it can be an abstract topic, it can be a finance wala topic, it can be a current affairs topic. I don't expect them to reduce or increase the difficulty level even if it is a 10 minute. I do not expect.
Okay.
Seeing how crucial JB ka this thing is, limited seats for so many applicants, right?
Ma'am,
Yes.
will there be any penalty for, let's say, if we are not able to reach 300 word limit in 10-minute time frame? Let's say if we are only able to write somewhere around 250. So is this a significant penalty or is it fine?
It's okay as long as you're able to cover some good points. Okay, but अगर तुमने ऐसे एक ही point को खींच के लिखा है active passive बना के फालतू गैस करी है, then it's useless even if you write 500. But अगर तुमने 200 words लिखे, but you put like point 1, 2, 3, not in pointers, but in a paragraph form, if you put good points, then it's okay. It all see at में तुम्हारा क्या test होगा? How you structure your thoughts? What is your content? What is your level of comfort with what topic? All these things will be tested. So if that is on point, then you don't have to worry.
Okay.
Yeah. Anything else? Nothing? No questions? Okay, sure. Can somebody, I need volunteers for a demo GD or a GD practice. Let's take, we have how many? 25 participants, 24 excluding me.
I would volunteer, ma'am.
Just raise your hands, whoever is willing to volunteer. Raise your hands, raise your hands. So we have 26, we can make two groups, 26 including me, so 25, so we can make two groups. Okay. No, wait, how many? I have one. Come on, guys. I need more people. Come on. Only 3. I need at least 10. Come on. 5. Okay. If you are somebody who is afraid to speak, then trust me, this is the best platform you can speak because no camera, nobody knows you. तुम कौन हो, कहाँ से हो, क्या करते हो, किसी को कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ रहा है. ठीक है? So this is the best time to take that fear out and speak. Because अगर अभी नहीं बोले तो वहाँ जाके नहीं बोल पाओगे. And you would not like if you lose your seat of JB, right? Just because you couldn't speak for 30 seconds. तो 30 seconds तुम्हारे इस पे डिपेंड करेगा, तुम्हारे करियर पे डिपेंड करेगा. 9 participants. One more, at least one more, please.
Ma'am, how to raise the hand? I am just looking.
Reactions पे मैं भी वही ढूंढ रहा था. अरे
मैं भी वही ढूंढ रहा था.
Reactions पे जाओगे.
Reaction पे जाके वही ढूंढ रहा था.
Okay, I have 12. ठीक है.
That's a raise hand. Okay, fine.
16, 17. Okay, chalo. We will form 2 groups. Okay. So first group can be okay, Siddesh, Rishikesh, Rahul, Kaustubh, Ashish, Jayan, Sameer, Adit, Darshan, Vinny, Rishikesh. Second Rishikesh also. Okay, let's do 10 के participants में, ठीक है? Let's take first 10 people. So from Siddesh till Vinny. Does that work, guys?
Yep.
हाँ, बाकी लोग can lower their hands so that I can understand किसका हो गया है, किसका बाकी. Just lower your hands. सब का हाँ, बाकी जिनका नहीं है अभी kindly lower your hands. Cool. Okay, चलो ठीक है. So we have 10 people. We will have a group discussion for 15 minutes. So it's 23:09. Let's consider 23:10. So it's 11:10 now. We will have it till 11:25. Okay. And the topic for your GD. So you can take 2 minutes to think and jot down your points. And then after 2 minutes, so we will start the group discussion at 11:15. Okay, till that time you can jot down your topics, and from 11:15 to 11:25 I expect the group to discuss the topic. Okay, and your topic is बाकी लोग जो है, those who are not participating in the discussion and listening, those people also need to jot down their topics and then you have to listen to the discussion and then give your opinions about what could have gone right and what went wrong. ठीक है? And the topic for discussion is expectations kill happiness. Is the topic clear? Expectations kill happiness. Okay.
Ma'am, I'm actually the 11th guy. So am I supposed to participate or not? You said my name, but I'm the 11th guy. So I'm not sure.
Sorry, I couldn't get you. Come again.
Ma'am, you had taken my name, but I'm the 11th person. So I'm not even sure if I'm supposed to participate.
Wait, do we have multiple Aditya here?
No, there's I think only one Aditya.
11th guy. So I have considered Siddesh, Rishikesh, Kaustubh, Ashish, Jayant, Sameer, and Sameer, Aditya, Darshan, and Vinny.
Okay, cool.
Achievable. If it is not achievable, then obviously it will kill your happiness because you won't get it. So expectations must be the realistic. Secondly point, you should know how to reach to your expectation, because if you are not your cup of tea, so that will also bring you some sadness also. So I think expectations are there in every form of life, like in personal, in a relationship, in a business, in a school, in colleges, everywhere, in every each and every form of life, expectation exists always. So
But I think one major point we should also realize is that, is it truly our expectation, or is it someone else's life that we are looking up to, and we think that yes, if someone has achieved this level of success, then we should also pursue that, and that we aim as our expectation. Maybe that's the reason that kills our happiness. So what one should do is one should look at one's own potentials and accordingly set one's own ambition. And I think that is a way to achieve true happiness, rather
Well, I
than
think
looking at others achievement and
Right.
drawing your happiness out of that. If
Right.
you
Yeah,
achieve
so I
it.
The
mentioned
main
this
reason
point before.
I think is emotional independence. This is a new type, new concept. Means emotional independence means we always think that people should behave according to me. Then only I will be happy. If suppose my mom cooks pav bhaji, then only I will be happy. My dad bring iPhones to me, then only I will be happy. So we have this kind of expectation. So what is the solution to this? The solution to this is acceptance. We have to accept the people how they are. We should not expect, but we should accept the people. And suppose if I give some exam and I'm not scoring, I didn't score enough, so I'm just focusing on result, means I should get 100 marks, 100 marks out of 100 marks. The solution to this, also in Bhagavad Gita, Sri Krishna says that karmanya vadi karaste ma phaleshu kadachan, means you should always focus on your work, not on the results. Then only you can achieve your goal and you will be more happy, I think.
Yes, of course, while we are preparing for something or we are working hard towards something, we should not let our mind wander in the dream of the expectation. We should only focus on the work. But at the end, after working hard, there will be some slight bit of expectation which we will crave for, and that is something which we cannot get rid of. That's what I feel.
So
yes,
we are
yes,
left
in
with
this,
time. So if someone wants to conclude, then please conclude.
Yeah.
may I go?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, so from overall discussion, like what I think can be concluded is expectations are there and expectations should be there, but expectation is like an electricity. Like electricity is there, whether electricity is good or bad, that depends on how we handle it. So I think that expectation kill happiness, or may kill happiness, may not kill happiness. It depends on how we handle the expectations. So expectations should be there because those are the signs of your progress, but the extent of the expectation, like we can say that balance we can form while having the expectation from us is more important. But expectations are there, expectations will be there, but we should have to be in balance with our expectations, like which is realistic and which is not realistic, which is unrealistic. So we should know the difference, and then we should mark our expectations accordingly.
I'm audible.
Yes, audible now.
Yeah.
I think the time is up. Maybe this concludes our GD.
So just want to make a point. Just Jan concluded one session and we just concluded your point. So just an analyze to conclude or to come up at this point as well. Right then.
Actually, Kaustubh, your voice is breaking, I think,
Yes.
due to the pure connection.
Yeah, maybe did you get my
So sorry, we couldn't get you. Is he audible to everyone?
No.
hello?
Done? Or your discussion? You're discussing it or you're done?
We are done.
Done. Any reviews, feedback from the participants who were listening to the discussion? What would be your reviews? What went good? What went bad? No feedback, no comments from anybody.
Hello.
Yes.
Ma'am, I think we should have given a bit prominence to the point that the career is being given prominence these days, and the societal norms and the peer comparison is being one of the issue behind this expectations and all. And we can also give examples of the companies like White Hat Junior, which promises to teach a child of 6-year-old to teach him coding and all, because it's the expectations of the people who made their child to enroll in these programs. So, that would
I had a small thought, like we were shifting, maybe I was right. We were shifting like societal expectations, like that was not exactly a part of the topic. So basically, I thought.
I think the expectation was on a subjective care. You can consider any part of it, societal,
Yeah.
personal.
That's a suggestion. I'm not pointing out. I'm just that was my thing. Maybe I should. Yeah. Maybe an ambition and expectations are I think synonyms of each other. You can't.
Expectation. My point of view is that expectation is in every part of your life. You expect your expectation from your family, your expectation from your hard work you put in. Expectation you expect from everything. You expect something, right?
Just like over expectation will be an issue. Like there should be a genuine expectation. Like that's it.
The clarity of expectation that you have. Exactly.
Yeah.
And I didn't get one point, like we set limits, but I think unless and until we push ourselves, we don't know what is our limit. So
exactly.
That is something that I didn't agree, but chalo, I mean, that's just my point.
Also, also expectation help us. Like if you don't have anybody who won't have expectation, he won't able to set his goal, and if he's not able to set a goal, he won't take out step accordingly.
Correct. So
I'm Ahmedabad jana, so I will have to have expectation. So I will set my work hard as which is required for IMA.
Right.
It's difficult, but
I had the one query. While concluding, one must include all the points that the candidates have mentioned. Like summing up all the things have been said, and after that concluding by putting a 1-to-1 plus together and pointing out which were the strong points, and then concluding whether it was true or not. Right. Hello.
Yes,
I didn't get you. I didn't get you.
Did you get me? Hello.
No, we can't hear you.
I lost you. Network. Can you just repeat?
Yeah. The thing is, I'm trying to say is while concluding, this is my guess. So while concluding, one must point out all the points the candidate has said, means the strong points, both in the support and in against. And concluding should be like summing them all up together and find out which were the strongest points, so that concluding in that favor, right?
You are right, Kostu, but what I think is conclusion should not be the repetition of the points, but we should summarize the points, but it should not be the repetition.
That's what I think. The GD purpose is that you want a case, you have to decide. So what you did, Jan, is like you summed up all your points, what you said about what the putting expectation to be realistic and all. That's what gave me doubt about that conclusion. So I want Pooja to clear it up. Will you do that?
Okay. No, what I thought at that point was was like means to have a solution of what is the topic what we were discussing, like expectation killer. So what might be a solution? Some people said no, some people said yes. So what I thought is, like, we cannot conclude it on one side, so it should be on the middle. So what I just said, it should not be the realistic, but it should be the achievable. So that's what I think. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's what I thought at that point.
Okay, guys, stop. So the discussion is, no, we don't want to have another GD for the same topic. The discussion is about how we conducted the GD and not about the content of the GD. First point, when I think who started with the GD, Rahul started, right? He asked that should I start? So there's no need to ask somebody that should I start or should I not start. You can directly start by stating your point that I think so and so. This is the topic, and we'll be having a discussion moving forward with this. Now, since this was a topic wherein we had to define some things, like it was expectations and it was happiness. So for every person, this is a very subjective topic, right? Expectation is different for everybody, assumption, and again, happiness is different for everybody. So it's on a very personal level. So you could probably start by defining what is expectation. Like I think somebody did, Ashish did, right? Ashish defined what is expectation, and then he moved forward. That expectation is a human trait, he mentioned, and then he moved forward by citing some examples. So that was a good thing to do. Second thing we did, again, Darshan spoke about emotional intelligence, which was a very relevant point. And one thing I saw that was lacking in your GDs is that there was no flow. So when you put in your points, you also have to listen to what people around you are speaking. Just cannot put your point anywhere randomly. So you have to be considering how the GD flows, right? So you have to make note of what the person prior to you has already said. So there was a discussion, somebody started the discussion, I think about Rahul. Rahul started with employment relationship. So he considered expectations and he linked it to employment and relationships, like personal relationships, I think. So then from there, you could have linked to other factors as well. Like you say professional aata, personal aata, how is expectations different at personal level, professional level, so on and so forth. You could have moved forward. But what other people tried doing is you started stretching the same point. Everybody linked it to student जो competitive exams वाला हो गया, तुम्हारा workplace में हो गया, performance pressure होगा, peer pressure हो गया. So it's the same point getting repeated over and over again, which wasn't required. Okay. Again, somebody spoke about positive effects. Yes. So everybody was initially speaking for like 70% of the time of the GD, everybody was speaking about why expectation kills happiness. Everybody was on the same page that expectations happiness kharab hoga hi hoga. But it might not be the case, right? Happiness can also, expectations can also be in a constructive way, in a positive way. It can motivate you, it can push you towards your goals, because if you don't have a goal in mind, if you don't expect something out of your life, how will you move forward? So it's not about happiness and sorrow, it's about how you take it. So then I think Jayant put forward this as a positive point for the first time, and then I think Siddesh also jumped in, if I'm not wrong. So both of these guys spoke about the positive effects of the topic as well, but this came in the very later part. By then everybody was convinced that, okay, expectation kills happiness. So do not do this, make it a balanced GD. That is why time is given for you to structure your thoughts. So pehle hi thoda structure bana lo, how you will put your thoughts and what are the topics you want to cover. If the topic has been covered by some other person, that point has been presented by some other person, then you needn't repeat it over and over again. Okay. Yes. What is the doubt?
Actually, ma'am, just the doubt is, like, if someone has started the topic now, just taking by this example, now the suppose Rahul has said the expectations are not good. I mean, he's starting from another point of that it is not good, and someone suppose just jump in that expectations are good. I mean, the flow, someone is always there who just cut the flow. Like, so what should we do in this situation?
No, that is not cutting the flow. That is actually putting different points. Because if I say that I believe expectations lead to happiness, or expectations can also make a person happy, so somebody can contradict that thing and say that no, I believe, although my friend or although my mate has said something, but I do believe that this can be taken in a positive way, or it can be taken in a negative way. So these are my points. Then somebody who wants to continue on the negative part, he can also say he can also pitch in by saying that, okay, I believe, although these are the positive points and I agree to it, but sometimes it becomes extreme. People start associating happiness with material expectations as far as their achievements are concerned. Somebody also spoke about relative peer pressure, and you always compare it with somebody. So that was a good point again. So you can always put in points as it. So flow is not about ki agar positive hai to pehle sara positive bolo fir sara negative bolo. That is not called flow. Flow is how you structure your GD or how you structure your answers. So VAT may, I think Srishti took VAT ka lecture, na? So she must have told how you structure your thoughts, like you define the thing, what it is, what is the topic about. मैंने GST का भी example देखा, I told you guys that initially you give a background about what you're discussing and then you pitch in your points. पहले ही start कर दो कि ये अच्छा ये बुरा, it doesn't make sense to the moderator that what you're speaking. You even understood what the topic was, right? Are we on the same page? हाँ, Aditya, बोलो.
So ma'am, like I was just observing the GD, and
Hmm.
what I felt is like this is just my view.
Hmm.
People were actually cutting each other. Like the fact that we said you will say 2 points, or 1 minute 30 minutes ka limit. No one actually followed that. There were 2-3 very dominant personas who handled the GD more to their side. So my question is, in the original GD, like in the actual GD, are we supposed to be as ruthless like this? Because if this is how it might probably go there as well. No one's going to follow the 1 minute 30 seconds ka limit. So like this time I just wanted to watch, but is this like, how am I supposed to go in the actual GD? Should I be quiet or should we just go all out?
This will be very much the scene in your actual GDs as well, because you do not interrupt some person. When he's speaking about, okay, my name is this, and you interrupt them before even listening to what their name is. ऐसा sentence के बीच में मत काटो उनको. That appears to be very rude and not good on your part. But do not stay quiet and wait for somebody else to finish, and then you will start. Do not wait. You can start pitching your points as and when you get time, right?
Cool. Okay.
Yeah. ठीक है. Okay, so the participants who did participate in this GD can lower their hands, and then we will move towards the next set of participants with a new topic. Now I need, so we have 24 participants, 23, and we had 10 in this GD. बाकी के जो भी है 12-13 लोग can quickly raise their hands, and then we can move it for the next GD. So we will start at 11:40, and you will get 3 minutes to think. Maybe take 5 minutes to structure your thoughts, because that is even important. And then you can have the discussion from 11:45 to 11:55. Yeah. Okay. And I have only 6 participants. कहाँ गए बाकी के लोग? सो गए क्या तुम लेक्चर लगा के? 8 now. I need 12. Guys, if you don't participate abhi, it won't happen in the final GD. See, I can't force you, but I strongly encourage everybody to participate. Baki, it's up to you. We have 9 participants. I need one more, at least one more. Do not shy away from these things. What is there to shy away? You're not even switching on your videos. और तुम पता नहीं, मुझे नहीं पता, गूगल करके भी पढ़ सकते हो. I don't know what you're doing. Yes, if people are less in number, but I want everybody to participate, so just to wait. Did not participate. Don't make me call out names. I need 10 people. Guys, one more thing which I forgot to mention. When you finish your point, make sure that you put yourself on mute. Otherwise, वो जो disturbance आते रहता है, तो it doesn't look good when somebody else is speaking, right? So since because it's an online setup, make sure you maintain that sanity. Put yourself on mute after you finish your point, and then unmute when you have to pitch in a new point. अरे now I have only 8 people. कहाँ गए? पहले 9 थे. I was looking for one more. Now it is 8.
Hi Pooja, just a suggestion. Can you also participate in this so we get the feeling?
No, I cannot participate.
Please.
No, I see. This is for you. It is not my GD.
No.
सब करके.
So we will get to know that how you actually participate in the GD, so it will be better for every one of us.
Okay, we will do that later, but I want others to participate.
Oh, okay, Sure.
I will call Srishti also. She took Vato. You know Srishti, right? You have had a session with her.
Yes.
So I'll call up Srishti also. Then we'll have a GD, and then you can see. ठीक है?
Okay, sure.
Okay, chalo. Chalo. Let's start. Let's not waste time. Chalo. Okay, the topic for the discussion is what happens if 1 rupee becomes equal to $1. Is the topic clear to everybody? The topic is 1 becomes equal to $1. You can start at 11:45, 11:55 तक होगा group discussion, okay?
I think it's 45. I think we should start. Okay. I think if $1 becomes equal to $1 rupee, it will be quite catastrophic to our to India as an economy and economically, as India is mostly, like, for example, IT sector in India is based on outsourcing the work from the US. So most of the if the $1 is equal to one USDT, this outsourcing advantage and low cheap labor cost, cheap outsourcing advantage will lost to India, and India will lose lots. India will lose lots of jobs, IT jobs here. Also in the exports, also like in export, like we are export for an export, like we're exporting some goods, like goods. We also will lose some our export competitiveness. Like it will be not feasible for other countries to export or manufacture the goods in India and import to their countries. So it will be quite catastrophic for the our nation, for if the $1 is equal to $1. And
One rupee is equal to $1. I think it's a case of currency appreciation. So I think at that time, there will be a huge loss for the domestic industry, because the import will be pretty cheaper at that time. So the current domestic industry, the domestic manufacturing industry, will be totally at a loss at that time. So as my colleague has mentioned, that they will use loss for the export, because there will be no leverage for exporting the things. And one more thing I think we are missing over here, there will be lack of innovation for in India. There will be lack of innovation in the Indian manufacturing industry because of cheap imports.
Yeah, but just adding to what Arnav and Manish shared, like I understand the point, but we are not really told if the INR converts to dollar overnight. It could be a gradual process as well. So assuming it's an overnight process, then yeah, what Arnav said definitely holds, right? But if it's a gradual process, if you're talking about something after like 30-40 years, then this has a different outlook. This has a very positive outlook, because Indian rupee is improving while the US is depreciating. So I think we could look at this in the broad. So that's what I think.
Yeah, on that point, I want to counter thing. For example, the inflation, the US Federal Reserve Bank keeps the inflation rate around 2 or 2.5%, and in contrast, Indian RBI Bank keeps plans to keep the inflation in around 4 to 5%. Our RBI, like Central Bank of India, wants the rupee to inflate faster as compared to dollar, as they want this competitive advantage to be there. The most countries, like for example, China is often accused of devaluing their currency to make their export favorable. So I think most of as per the traditional knowledge, it's common consensus, like if we are importing something, we have to make our currency devalued so that our export become competitive against other countries.
I even also want to counter the point that if it will happen gradually, so we are going to have a benefit of that. But if you look at the GDP of India and US, the US GDP of US is somewhere around 21 lakh crore USD. Well, if you look at the GDP of India is 3 trillion USD, means 3 lakh crore USD. So for till now, in the 70 years of 70 years of independence, we reached there. So I don't think it is going to happen in next 30 to 45 or 34 years. So
I want to counter your point, Manish, because I think America's total population and India's total population is very different, and the economic diversion of money itself is very bad compared to what we have in America. And also, when 1 rupee becomes $1, the major factor we are going to have is the unemployment rates that are going to increase, as well as the wages that are being given to the people. It will reduce drastically.
Also, exactly, you are right, Amit. But there is positive side to it also, because India import more than export. So basically, if the price of one rupee become equal to $1, then it will be beneficial for the India.
But I think so the local market will take a definite hit from this, because people will try to go into the developing countries rather than taking us from us, which have already become the developed country.
Why would it take a hit? I mean, okay, let's say you earn 50,000 rupees a month. It's not necessary that it would multiply by 60. Probably your salary would then be kept at $100 instead of. So the salaries and everything would just come down, but the values of the currencies are equal. So I mean, it's probable that the value of each and every
rather than foreign investment, you will have a foreign competition. Before
and also
values. Okay, Chinmay, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry. Okay. Hello.
Yeah, Chinmay.
Am I audible?
Yes,
okay, so if this process occur over the period of time, then local traders also get a chance to improve themselves to compete with the other foreign export.
But if we take in consideration, this process is very gradual. That is what the economies are trying to do right now.
Yeah.
But we cannot think that tomorrow, if 1 rupee is equal to $1, we might go into recession.
Actually.
If this process is taking gradually over the long period, then I think that it will be like something like the dollar is inflating and the rupee is deflating, because right now $1 is around 75 INR. if something is going to happen in future, like if rupee is de-inflating, it will also have an adverse effect on Indian economy, because people won't spend money because they know, like, tomorrow if I'm getting a bread loaf of 100 rupees today, in next day after tomorrow I can get it for 80 rupees. That's a like example. That will be more bigger issue for the on economy. If the
We
process
definitely will have more purchasing power. That is not no doubt.
but
Uh,
purchasing power,
Actually,
I think
all
we
the
are
things
missing a
and
point.
services will be adjusted accordingly. It's not like if a one thing is for $1 rupee, or in dollar it costs $1, or in rupees it costs 175 rupees approximately. I'm not currently in sync with the today's prices, but it won't be like same for the entirety of the process. It will change with the appreciation of the rupee. I think that's what we are missing in this discussion.
That's what
So
What I want to tell that what the main point we are missing is, when we talk about 1 rupee is $1, we are talking on nominal terms. We are not talking on the PPP terms. So I don't think that the proponents of this thought that the inflation and the inflation will be adjusted or something in the gradual terms.
Yeah. True.
Exactly.
Also, we don't know, like,
one more thing that is going to happen with that. The FDI, India is being India is one of the emerging countries as of now, emerging economy as of now. So the FDI will stop coming. If $1 is 1 rupee, why
Exactly.
would the
Competition is
US
going to
will-
increase.
Why would it stop? Assuming both US and India are not the superpowers and there's some other superpower, and they would be investing in US and India. So we don't know the other background, right?
exactly,
We just know US is equal to
appreciating
No,
the
It's a very
we know one
hypothetical
background.
reason
scenario.
for
US is
direct
a
investment is
superpower.
that.
US
Yeah,
is
please
a
continue.
superpower, and India is a pretty much dependent on the foreign countries for FDIs. So yeah, definitely, why would someone will invest in India when 1 rupee is $1?
Maybe US has depreciated and is equal to India. Maybe US is not a superpower. Let's say Japan is a superpower. It wants to invest in India. We don't know
The
this.
major concern for our country will be to give employment to the same
Also, I
level.
want to add one more point. We haven't talked about how it will inflate. Maybe if something like if a prime minister wants, like, he can set a decree, like put a naya domination of Indian rupees, like 1 rupee.
Yeah, make 100 rupees equal to 100 cents.
Yeah, something like what happened in Zimbabwe, like they did it, like something like that.
But then
So
again,
it's
then we
not,
have to
then it will be that no
complete the whole framework of the
but this
concept.
comes at a cost of inflation.
It won't. Basically, we put a new mark for the like we put
bring in cryptocurrency,
100 rupees is equal one Indian something like XYZ currency, and which is equal to dollar. So then it won't be something like that.
No, I would like to conclude. No, I would like to conclude what everyone said. Just
Okay, carry on.
no, I would like to conclude that what everyone said, that inflation will increase. Some said it won't. Like it will, if it happens gradually, it won't happen. But all of a sudden, if it happens, we will be in big trouble, and the job structure and employment will be really in big trouble. But also, we are ignoring the fact that we will become a big world power. We are right now a world power, but we will become an even bigger world power. Our currency rate will be so high that the world will look to us that.
Punit, I want to add this one issue.
Yeah.
The currency, being a world power doesn't say like you have a strong currency. Japan has a very weak. They have very weak currency, thousands.
Correct.
So that does make us a world power.
That is about if we go gradually, we can do that.
Yeah.
It won't
Definitely,
happen all of a
that is our
sudden.
career. That is our
Hypothetical
prospect of
conclusion.
the economy. But majorly, I think it is gonna have a negative impact on the economy.
Mostly, yeah, because
for our country.
we are mostly export-oriented kind of economies. So that
No,
will be
Even
a-
if we import or
actually,
export,
I would
overall,
I would like
I
to
would
contradict.
like to
stagnation and
I think,
hello guys, I would like to
lot of
interrupt
mix-up, lot of
saying that it's not, we are not concluding the topic, but we are just touching the topic. So I think anyone wants to conclude, please go ahead.
Yeah. I think whatever we discussed, the effects of it, like the inflation rate and other political and economic effects, considering India as a very complex economy, it will be an economical shock for India for a very short term, even if it is a gradual change. But the most affected population will be the common man, and the rich population will always like find a way out of these consensus. The major concern is will be us who would
will
be
you cater to
affecting.
the whole population of this country.
Correct. I completely agree with you.
I don't agree completely, but okay.
Yes.
We can
Thank you, Kanti,
Yeah.
for
Thank you,
summarizing
Thank
the
you very
topic.
much for this opportunity.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thanks. So, Pooja can take over.
And feedback from other participants.
But I found this discussion much more human than the previous one. Like, honestly.
I think it's the
Thanks.
opposite, actually.
Actually, I prepared for this topic.
Damn.
I think so I shared this in the group itself. I think it's one of those topics.
Yes, right.
Yeah, but bhai.
You should see. This is the second topic in that discussion. They have listed there that the IT sector and a lot of other sectors are gonna go down if this happens.
Okay, any other feedback from other participants? Like how did it go? Not content-wise. Content-wise, I have some pointers. But how was the participation from the?
I think maybe they
lower
could
down your
have.
hands so that I can see other participants. Just lower down your hands.
So I think maybe they could have started by stating some figures, what the historical USD to INR rate has been.
Yes.
So they could have mentioned that in the year 1947, when India got independence, the rate was actually 1 USD to 1 INR. Then gradually the rupee went through a phase of devaluation and depreciation, and then today we see the rate at 75. Then they could have continued.
Right. Yes.
Yeah. Also, one point like how RBI pitches in when the currency fluctuation happens.
Very important. Very important. I don't think anybody mentioned about this, but yes, it should happen.
And one more point also regarding oil imports, which form a major chunk of our imports. And if dollar rate falls to 1 rupee, then obviously oil imports and energy constraints will be affected.
Anything else? Beach it became very chaotic, to be very honest. I did not understand what was happening. Everybody was trying to speak something, but it became very chaotic. It shouldn't happen. I understand that everybody knew this topic, you were prepared for this topic, but here what mattered was not how you put forward your points, what is your content, how well you know about this topic. यहाँ पे तुम्हारा वो thesis नहीं लिखना था तुम्हें, but how you present yourself in a discussion. But it became very, very chaotic. Like everybody was so energetic to put forward their own points that you guys forgot that you're a part of group. And you have to carry other people along as well and consider their opinions as well. So it became very chaotic, which should never happen. I mean, although you were prepared, but it shouldn't happen. Second important point, which was a big mistake, is you never interrupt if somebody is concluding. So the person who was concluding, he mentioned that, okay, I'll conclude since there was only a minute left. But I think all of you guys also started adding on to your points to what he concluded. First thing, in conclusion, you only have to conclude, you only have to summarize what everybody has said and not put forward your own new point. There should be no new point in conclusion. Second thing, you do not interrupt a conclusion. These two things should never happen. If you interrupt a conclusion by saying, I want to add on to this, how does it become a conclusion? It doesn't ever become a conclusion. It's like you're initiating altogether a new discussion now, which is unnecessary. Don't do that.
Ma'am, if the situation does get chaotic, will the moderator or someone step in? Because this might get haywire in the actual. No one's going to step in.
No, moderator will never step in because he's observing how you guys tackle, right? If you make it a fish market, don't make it a fish market. The entire group can be, rejected. If somebody is making a fish market, just stay silent and then put forward your point very calmly and smartly. Do not jump into that fish market. The moderator will get irritated by listening to this chaos. It's not about how you put forward your content always. It's more important how you, not important what your content is, but very important how you put it. Because here they are looking for somebody who is eligible to participate in the classroom discussions of a B school. An MBA graduate making a chaotic discussion doesn't look good. Like यहाँ पे वो parliament जैसा discussion थोड़ी हो रहा है कि कुर्सी उठा के फेंक रहे इधर उधर ये सब थोड़ी देखना है.
I think that's why they cancelled GD and IIMs, right?
Yeah. Matlab, it doesn't look good, right? If it is becoming chaotic. There was a difference when we had it in undergrad, but there's a difference now. Also, when it comes to the structure of GD, like I mentioned in the previous video also, there has to be a definition to what the topic is. You guys started with, I think Arnav started. So Arnav started, he did mention about what the topic is, but then he started like, I think this about this. But very important thing, you should define what is the topic. The topic was what will happen if 1 rupee becomes equal to $1. So you first define that how these two currencies are defined. What is their comparison? What impacts their comparison? How it is impacted on other entities? You define, you give it a background, and then you start putting forward your viewpoints on it. That what will be the possible situation? It is a hypothetical situation, we understand. But first you need to understand on what criteria it is decided or what are the factors that will influence this thing. Right? So input factors तुमने बताए ही नहीं, पहले ही output पे jump करके you're telling this will happen, that will happen, which is a good thing, which is not a good thing. Do not jump to, I told you guys when we started with the session also, put forward the facts and figures. Only then you can weigh the pros and cons, and then you can conclude that, okay, based on these factors and based on these considerations, this thing can be happened, or this thing can be considered, or this can't be considered, whatever your viewpoint is. But you cannot put a viewpoint and then go forward explaining why you came to that viewpoint, because it's not about your imagination here, it's about how straight you put your facts and figures, because this was not an abstract topic. पहले वाले जैसा नहीं था expectation happiness, उसमें जैसा नहीं था कि तुम तुम्हारी imagination लगा रहे हो वहाँ. This was a very straightforward topic. So you have to define what it is, what determines the value, how it is translated, what are the participating factors in it, as somebody mentioned, background थोड़ा दो कि previous value क्या था, कब से बढ़ रहा है, कब से कम हो रहा है, what is happening, how is it impacting different sectors of both the countries, how will it impact India, how will it impact some other country. Okay, so give a structure कि पहले बताओ, you know this 5 by and this thing model ना, 5 by वाला. First define what it is, whom will it impact, who is involved in it, what can be the possibilities, when did it happen, all these questions you answer. It will give you a structure. Don't just put your points haywire because it makes no sense. Although you put in very fancy facts and figures, but if you don't structure your points, I don't think it will work out. So from now on, whenever you're trying to practice some topic on your own also, just try and form a structure to your thought process. ऐसे तुमने एक topic देखा कि okay, cryptocurrency. So cryptocurrency में try understanding what is cryptocurrency, when did it start, who are the major participants involved in that, what are the stakes involved in it, how is it happening, is it going good, is it going bad, what happened good, what happened bad, and based on all these events you can then decide what will happen in the future. ऐसे ही तुम मन से अरे I think it will do good, so it doesn't mean, right, it doesn't make anything. So do not conclude पहले ही, do not jump to conclusions, but you need to structure it. When people generally practice for GDs, जब तुम लोग पढ़ते हो, अगर if you are going through some topics for GDs as well, जैसे this topic you guys had practiced, you might have practiced only the facts and figures कि तुम्हें क्या-क्या चीजें note करनी है, क्या-क्या चीजें बोलनी है, but you never thought how you'll speak, right? Because वो दिखा यहाँ पे. You knew the facts and figures, understood. You knew how it will impact imports, exports, this, that, और कुछ तो somebody also said, somebody said about import, export. Yeah. So whatever facts were there, you put it. Agreed, good. But how you put it is very important. So you give a structure to your thoughts. Okay, next time you practice for a GD. This was very lacking. This became very chaotic. I think Aditya did a good thing here. He stated an assumption. I mean, he corrected an assumption that why are we considering it to be a short-term thing? Why aren't we considering over a span of some years? So that was a good thing to. He made sure everybody is on the same page. But if somebody is speaking about something and then you abruptly start speaking about something else very randomly, that doesn't look good. That is what is meant by flow. Okay. And do not be very, see, there's a difference between being energetic in a conversation, being engaged in a conversation, and shouting and being a little aggressive in the conversation or in the discussion. Okay? So be very careful about these things. Although you need to speak louder, you need to be louder, you need to put your points very clearly because it's an online setup. But still, it shouldn't appear like you're shouting at the top of your voice and you're screaming, right? So your tone also matters, your voice modulation matters, your punctuation does matter. How you address your fellow participants does matter. Okay, do not create this chaos. This was even more chaotic than the previous topic. Previous topic, mein everybody was calmly stating happiness. Like I could feel you guys relating to expectations are this thing cause happiness wala this thing. Expectation lead to sorrow. So everybody was pitching their points, their experiences, but this was a factual topic. But do not make it a fish farm.
Ma'am, I do have a doubt.
Yes.
ये तो बस know this like in the actual one where there'll be like 13-14 people, right?
Mm.
Obviously it will be much more fast paced than this because it's like the final GD.
Mm.
So do you think there might be a little bit abruption in the way the moderator might mark? Because in the online setup I see that when someone's speaking, 2 people do pop up like in the same slide.
Mm.
So would that cause, like according to your experience, would that cause an issue like मतलब आपके हिसाब से? Or
2
would
people
it
pop up as in I didn't get
on the screen, as in like when 2
on the
people
screen
start-
so
yeah,
there are
as in how-
बहुत सारे options on the screen पे. If I make it a gallery view, I can keep on seeing who is speaking and who isn't.
Exactly, but there are multiple people speaking at the same time. That's what I'm trying to say. It's not
नहीं,
like everyone's quiet and then one person speaking. Then
No,
उसका
no,
भी क्या
it
है?
has to be थोड़ा सा decent. Multiple people speaking at the same time, so one person has to keep quiet and let the other person speak, right?
Okay.
So,
But
it
then you never
cannot
get the time. I was
Yeah,
trying
that's
to
what I
put in,
felt. Okay,
but
there
the
is
first
keep
3
quiet,
people
you stay back.
put in, and afterwards I had to like
Yeah,
push myself up.
you had to push
into the
yourself in. Like,
conversation.
that's what I
You
felt.
have
So
to
you have
push
to put your
yourself.
word
That
in.
is what it is now in a group discussion. Like nobody will come
You're
and say,
excited.
okay, Amit, it's your turn now. You speak. ऐसा तो कोई नहीं
But then
करेगा.
again, it is gonna be a little chaotic, no? If you
Yeah, I
see
feel
it.
it's gonna be
Because I have
chaotic.
given a lot of GDs that sometimes it becomes a little bit chaotic. I'm not talking about the way it happened in this previous session, but yeah, it becomes.
That is why
chaotic.
I said it. Pick up those pauses when the other person is speaking. And if
I
somebody
don't
has
think so.
already
There was a pause.
started,
I'm really sorry.
Yeah, if you
I
then
don't
the
think
first
so. There
3
was a
people
pause.
will
I
die.
tried. I
Yeah, yeah.
literally tried to wait for 3 people, and after 4 minutes, I think so. I started putting my points up.
Exactly.
Hmm.
So yeah, I
Because
mean,
then we have to hold our ground or something like that. It happened that way. I think
basically
so
just
that is
say
where the
something kind of-
animal instinct came out of everyone. Like everyone was like, I want to do, I want to do, I want to do this. But I don't
Hey.
think so. It was very, it had no decorum altogether.
हाँ.
I've had many GDs, but I think so. This is the worst.
So this is mock.
I'm really sorry, guys, but we are very
Hmm.
bad at this. We need
Yeah,
to.
everybody had some
अरे मला उद्या स्टिक नोट बनवून द्यावी लागणार आहे तुम्हाला. एक्झॅक्टली कॉपी नाही. हे बघ सीन काय आहे ना, बघून लिहायचं नाही, बुलेट पॉईंट जरी दिले ना, पण हे बघ बुलेट पॉईंट असे पाहिजेत ना की वॅटचं कसं असतं रिटर्न ऍप्टिट्यूड
Talking to
टेस्ट.
someone else? Yeah.
हे बघ नाही नाही 300 ओळी लिहायच्यात.
He's
I
talking
think
to
he's talking to someone else. He's
पहिलं
telling to.
इंट्रोडक्शन.
He's in
Okay,
another
guys,
zone.
chalo, let's wrap up here. Okay.
Ma'am, I want to ask.
Yes, yes.
What if this question was asked in PI? Should I tell introduction that should I tell all the history from 1947, or should I directly jump to the answer in PI?
No,
With
you
this
have to
question?
state what PI में भी पूछा, कोई भी सवाल पूछा, you have to state what is the background, why you're considering, what factors you're considering, why you're considering those factors, and then make a conclusion. पहले ही conclusion पे jump मत करो. Never do that. Okay. And I have a question here that conclusion में, yes, conclusion means that you're summing up everybody's points, you're summarizing that discussion. So you have to take into consideration all the points. For वाले भी, against वाले भी, pros भी, cons भी, everything. You have to take into consideration all the points. Then give it a structure that these were the points against the topic, these were the points for the topic, and this is how we arrived at this conclusion, or we did not arrive at any. So you have to consider all the things. Okay.
Ma'am,
Yes.
should we refrain from quoting anything in Hindi? For example, if it's a famous quote by someone in a Hindi language. I remember someone quoting from Bhagavad Gita.
No, it's okay. If the topic is abstract or if the topic is not a factual one, you can because it's like giving an example, right? So it's okay.
Okay.
Cool. Okay. So let's wrap it up for the day here. Okay. So work on these things. Don't make it a fish market. Practice giving a structure to your thoughts, because that is what will matter a lot. It is very less number of seats that you're fighting for. Okay. And good luck to you. Practice well. Keep your facts and figures in place. Give it a structure and practice speaking. Maybe you can make some small groups amongst yourselves and practice if you are doing it still. And start speaking. Those who did not participate, I know who didn't participate, but okay, I'll not take names now. Do speak. Please try speaking. Okay? It's the matter of your career. Speaking for 1 minute can no, they weren't waiting for pause. They did not initiate that thing to participate in the GT. Okay? So I'm talking about those. So do not wait for that. Start speaking. If speaking for 1 minute could get into a college like jbims, why not? Sarcasm is not allowed in GTs. No, don't be sarcastic. मतलब तुम्हें 2 मिनट में sarcasm भी करना है. इतना talent.
I was talking about Aditya. I think he was trying to mock him.
No, don't mock anybody. And
no, why would I mock anyone? The GD itself is a mock.
We were mocked enough, I think.
Yep.
You made it enough chaotic. Okay.
Ma'am, can I ask related to PI one question?
PI questions? Okay. Yeah. What you can do is you can drop. Guys, those who have done, I mean, we are done for the day. Those who do not have doubts can leave. Can feel free to leave, and those who have doubts or any concerns can stay back.